Somewhere right now, on a muddy back road you have never heard of, an old man is climbing onto a tractor his father bought before he was born. The paint is faded, the seat is cracked down the middle. There is hay bale twine holding something together that probably should not be held together with twine. He turns the key. That old diesel coughs twice, shakes like a wet dog, and fires up like it has done every single morning for the last 50 years. Nobody remembers these tractors, but they remember how to work. These are 10 forgotten diesel tractors that refuse to die. Number 10. The International Harvester Farmall MD. If you want to talk about the tractor that brought diesel power to the average American farmer, this is the one. International Harvester introduced the Farmall MD in 1941, and it was a turning point for the entire industry. Now, diesel tractors existed before the MD. Caterpillar had been running diesel crawlers since the 1930s, but those were big, expensive machines for contractors and large operations. The MD was different. It was a row crop tractor, the same type of machine a regular farmer used every day, and IH put a diesel engine in it. That was a big deal. The MD shared its block with the gasoline-powered Farmall M, both using a 248 cubic inch 4-cylinder engine. The diesel version produced about 36 belt horsepower at 1,550 RPM. It was not a powerhouse by modern standards, but it sipped fuel compared to the gasoline model. The Gas M burned about 3 gallons per hour at full power. The diesel MD used just 2.4 gallons per hour doing the same work. Over a long plowing season, that difference added up to real money. Starting the MD was an adventure. There were no glow plugs or powerful batteries capable of cranking a diesel in cold weather back then. Instead, the MD used a small gasoline starting engine bolted to the side of the main diesel. You fired up the little gas engine first, let it warm the block, then engaged a mechanism that cranked the diesel to life. It was awkward and sometimes cranky, but it worked. Practical glow plug systems and direct start diesels were still more than a decade away. The MD was backed by a 5-speed transmission and could run an impressive 16 miles per hour on the highway. Options included a side-mounted belt PTO, a rear PTO, and IH's lift-all hydraulic system. The electrical system was basic, just an ammeter, an oil pressure gauge and a water temperature gauge. Nothing fancy, nothing to break. Farmers did not rush out to buy diesel tractors in 1941. It took time. There was a learning curve, and the technology felt unfamiliar. But one by one, farmers figured out that diesel meant cheaper fuel, longer engine life, and more torque in the field. The MD started that education. You can still find these tractors running today on small farms across the Midwest, over 80 years after they first rolled off the line. Number 9. The John Deere Model R. John Deere's first diesel tractor was the Model R. Introduced in It was a standard tread machine. No adjustable row crop wheels here, built for heavy pulling on big acreage. The R used Deere's signature horizontal 2-cylinder engine, a diesel with 415.5 cubic inches of displacement that produced around 45 drawbar horsepower. Like the Farmall MD, the Model R used a small gasoline pony engine to get the big diesel started. You cranked the little V4 gasoline engine by hand or with electric start, let it warm the block, and then flip the compression release on the main engine. When that big 2-cylinder diesel caught and started thumping, you knew about it. The sound was unmistakable, a deep, rhythmic loping that Deere fans call the Johnny Popper beat. The Model R was famous for its incredible fuel economy. Experienced operators said it was nearly impossible to make an R burn more than 2 gallons of fuel per hour, even under heavy load. That kind of efficiency was almost unheard of in the late 1940s and made the R very popular with farmers who watched every penny. But the R was not without critics. Some farmers felt it did not pull as hard as other tractors in its weight class. One farmer recalled that a well-running Farmall M could keep pace with the R in the field. The R's strength was not raw brute force, it was marathon endurance and economy. It could work all day on almost nothing. John Deere built the R from 1949 to 1954, and it was followed by the improved Model 820, which bumped up the power considerably. But the R laid the foundation for Deere's diesel reputation, a reputation that the company still carries today. Many Model R tractors survive in working condition, treasured by collectors and small farmers who appreciate a machine that refuses to quit. Number 8. The Fordson Major Diesel. While American manufacturers were easing into diesel power, Ford's British operation went all in. The Fordson Major, manufactured from 1951 to 1958 at Ford's Dagenham plant in England, featured a 3.6-liter diesel engine producing about 40 horsepower. It was not the most powerful tractor in the world, but it was built like a vault. The Fordson Major became a workhorse across Europe, the British Commonwealth, and beyond. Farmers in England, Ireland, Australia, and New Zealand relied on these blue-gray tractors for everything from ploughing to hauling. The diesel engine offered good fuel economy, and the tractor's robust construction meant it could handle rough treatment on rocky, hilly European farms that would punish a less sturdy machine. What made the Fordson Major special was its simplicity. There was not much to go wrong. The engine was straightforward, the transmission was tough, and the whole package was designed to be maintained by a farmer with basic tools, not a factory-trained technician. That philosophy of repair-it-yourself engineering is one reason so many Fordson Majors are still running today, especially in rural parts of Britain and Ireland where farmers have been passing them down through generations. The Power Major and Super Major variants followed, adding more power and features. But the original diesel Fordson Major remains one of the most recognized and longest surviving tractors in European farming history. Walk through any agricultural show in the British Isles and you will see rows of them, many still doing real work rather than just sitting pretty for judges. Number 7. The Allis-Chalmers WD45 Diesel. The Allis-Chalmers WD45 holds a special place in tractor history. Manufactured from 1953 to 1957 at the West Allis, Wisconsin factory, the WD45 was the first Allis-Chalmers tractor with power steering. That alone would have made it notable, but the diesel version added something even more important: real fuel economy in a compact, affordable package. The gasoline WD45 used a 226 cubic inch 4-cylinder engine producing around 30 belt horsepower. The diesel version used a slightly different engine setup, but was known for being remarkably efficient. In total, Allis-Chalmers built 90,382 WD45 tractors, 83,536 gasoline and 6,509 diesel. The diesel was the rarer bird, and farmers who ran them swore by the fuel savings. The WD45 was a row crop tractor with adjustable rear wheel width, making it versatile enough for corn, soybeans, hay, and general farm work. It was not the biggest or the most powerful tractor on the market, but it hit a sweet spot of affordability, capability, and running costs that made it incredibly popular with mid-size farmers. Allis-Chalmers was always the underdog compared to John Deere and International Harvester. The company never had the dealer network or the marketing budget of its bigger rivals, but farmers who tried AC equipment often became lifelong converts. The orange paint became a badge of loyalty across the upper Midwest, and the WD45 was the tractor that cemented that loyalty for a generation. Today, the WD45 diesel is a sought-after collector's tractor, but plenty of them are still earning their keep, pulling manure spreaders, running hay balers, and doing the unglamorous daily work that nobody puts on a calendar, but every farm depends on. Number 6. The John Deere 730 Diesel. The 730 Diesel was the last and finest of John Deere's legendary two-cylinder tractors. Introduced in August 1958 for the 1959 model year, it was available in 3 chassis types: row crop, standard, and high crop, and it represented the pinnacle of a design philosophy that Deere had been perfecting since the company first got into the tractor business. The diesel engine was by far the most popular option. Of the 24,495 total 730 tractors built, a remarkable 17,032 were diesels. Farmers knew a good thing when they saw it. The two-cylinder horizontal diesel was one of the most fuel-efficient engines Deere ever built, continuing the tradition of economy that started with the Model R back in 19. Diesel buyers could choose between a small V4 Pony starting engine or a 24-volt electric starting system. The Pony engine was old technology by 1958, but some farmers in cold climates preferred it because it warmed the block before firing the main engine. The 24-volt electric start was more convenient and signaled where the industry was heading. Behind the scenes at Deere, Engineers knew the two-cylinder era was ending. The new generation 4- and 6-cylinder tractors were already in development, but they would not be ready until 1960. The 730 series was designed partly to buy time and partly to test features planned for the new machines. Henry Dreyfuss and Associates, the same industrial design firm that had styled Deere tractors since the Letter series, gave the 730 a facelift that made it look fresh even though it was mechanically identical to the 720 underneath. The 730 diesel remains one of the most fuel-efficient and reliable tractors Deere has ever produced. Collectors pay serious money for good examples, but working 730 diesels still exist on farms across the Great Plains, doing exactly what they were built to do: pulling hard, burning little fuel, and outlasting everything around them. Number 5. The Oliver 8080 Diesel. Oliver was always the thinking farmer's tractor brand. The company never had the market share of Deere or IH, but Oliver machines were consistently among the most technologically advanced of their era. The 880 diesel, produced from 1958 to 1963, was a prime example. The Oliver 88 series had been around since 1947, and by the time it evolved into the Super 88 and then the 880, it had earned a rock-solid reputation for pulling power and reliability. The 8080 diesel used a 6-cylinder engine that produced around 60 PTO horsepower, serious muscle for a row crop tractor in the late 90s. Oliver was also ahead of the curve on operator comfort. While other manufacturers were still bolting steel seats onto cast iron frames, Oliver was thinking about how the person on the tractor actually felt after 10 hours in the field. Their cabs and controls were laid out more thoughtfully than most competitors, and the ride quality was noticeably better. The problem for Oliver was not the quality of its tractors, it was the business side. In 1960, the heavy truck maker White Motor Corporation bought Oliver, gaining instant entry into the farm equipment market. Oliver continued as a brand for a while, but the writing was on the wall. Eventually, White merged Oliver with Minneapolis Molen and Cockshut, selling identical tractors under different paint schemes. By 1969, all three brands were folded into White. The Oliver brand died, but the tractors did not. 8 Henry diesels can still be found doing real work, especially in the Eastern Corn Belt, where Oliver had its strongest dealer network. They are tough, well-engineered machines that outlasted the company that built them. Number 4. The Massey Ferguson 35 Diesel. The Massey Ferguson 35 is arguably the most iconic tractor ever built outside of North America. Introduced in 1956, it became one of the most popular and widely distributed tractors in the world, selling in enormous numbers across Europe, Africa, Asia, and the Americas. The diesel version used a Perkins 2.5-liter 3-cylinder engine that produced about 37 horsepower. It was not a big engine, but it was incredibly efficient and reliable. Perkins diesels had a reputation for being virtually indestructible in agricultural service, and the 35 diesel lived up to that reputation in spectacular fashion. What set the MF35 apart was its combination of reliability, ease of use, and versatility. It featured the Ferguson 3-point hitch system, one of the most important inventions in farming history, which allowed implements to be attached and detached quickly and operated hydraulically. The multi-power transmission gave operators an extra gear range without stopping, adding flexibility for different field conditions. The 35 was small enough to be nimble on tight farms and powerful enough to handle real field work. It could plow, disc, mow, bale, load, and do just about anything a mid-size farmer needed. Maintenance was straightforward, parts were widely available, and any village mechanic from Yorkshire to Kenya could keep one running. Decades later, the MF35 diesel remains in active service on farms around the world. In developing countries where newer equipment is unaffordable, these old Masseys are the backbone of food production. In Europe, they are cherished working antiques. There is a reason they call it the tractor that fed the world. Number 3. The John Deere Forte 20 Diesel. If there is one tractor that experienced American farmers mention more than any other when asked about the greatest tractor ever built, it is the John Deere 4020 Diesel. Introduced in 1964 as part of Deere's new generation line, the 4020 represented a quantum leap in tractor design. The 4020 was powered by a 4.4 cubic inch 6-cylinder diesel engine producing around 91 PTO horsepower. After years of two-cylinder engines, Deere's jump to a smooth-running inline-six was a revelation. The engine was powerful, efficient, and critically, it could be run at lower RPM while still delivering strong pulling force. That meant less wear, less noise, and better fuel economy. The 4020 featured Deere's synchro-range transmission, which gave operators 8 forward speeds and was synchronized for easy shifting on the go. Power steering, a live PTO, and a sophisticated hydraulic system made the 4020 a genuinely modern tractor. Later models added the PowerShift transmission, fully automatic gear changes at the touch of a lever, which was practically science fiction for farmers who had been double-clutching two-cylinder machines. What made the 420 truly special was its versatility. It was big enough to handle serious row crop work and pull large implements, but not so massive that it was impractical for smaller operations. It was the Goldilocks tractor, just right for an enormous range of farming situations. John Deere sold a staggering number of 4200 tractors. They were everywhere, in cornfields, hay meadows, cattle operations, and grain farms across North America. When a farmer finally wore one out, he bought another 4220. When his son took over the farm, the old 4200 became the backup tractor, and it just kept working. Today, well-maintained 420 diesels are still in daily use on thousands of farms. They are also some of the most valuable vintage tractors on the market. A good 420 diesel with a PowerShift can fetch serious money at auction, and it will earn every penny of that price, doing real work for another generation. Number 2. The Massey Ferguson 1.5 diesel. If the MF35 was the tractor that conquered the small farm, the Massey Ferguson 165 diesel was the one that stepped up to handle the medium-sized operation. Produced from 1964 to 1975, the 165 used a Perkins 3.3-liter four-cylinder diesel engine, producing around 58 PTO horsepower. The 16.5 took everything farmers loved about the MF35: reliability, Ferguson hydraulics, simple maintenance, and added more power, more weight, and more capability. It was a proper utility tractor that could handle 4-furrow plowing, large round balers, and front-end loaders without breaking a sweat. Massey Ferguson's dealer network was truly global by the mid-1960s, and the 16.5 sold in huge numbers on every inhabited continent. In France, it worked the vineyards. In Australia, it cleared bush. In North America, it ran dairy farms. In Africa, it opened new agricultural land. The 16.5 was adaptable, tough, and remarkably easy to service, 3 qualities that translate into survival across decades and continents. The Perkins diesel in the 16.5 was a masterpiece of understated engineering. It started easily, ran smoothly, delivered consistent power, and lasted forever if you changed the oil regularly. Many 116.5s have recorded 10,000, 15,000, even 20,000 hours on the original engine before needing a major overhaul. Those are extraordinary numbers for a tractor of this era. The MF 165 remains a common sight on working farms worldwide. It is one of those tractors that never really became a collector's item, because too many of them are still too useful to retire. Number 1. The Ford 5000 diesel. Ford's 5000 series was the tractor that finally gave the Blue Oval a serious contender in the utility tractor market. Introduced in 1965, the 5000 used a Ford 233 cubic-inch 4-cylinder diesel engine, producing around 65 PTO horsepower. It was a clean, modern design that combined real pulling power with excellent operator ergonomics. The 5000 was part of Ford's 1000 series, which replaced the older 100 series tractors and brought Ford into the modern era of farm equipment design. The tractor featured a Selecto-Speed or dual-range transmission, independent PTO, and Ford's own hydraulic system with draft control. Later models could be ordered with a factory cab, a luxury that was rapidly becoming a necessity for farmers working in cold, dusty, or noisy conditions. What made the Ford 5000 a survivor was its engine. The 4-cylinder Ford diesel was simple, sturdy, and unbelievably long-lived. Ford dealers later reported that the 5000 and its successors, the 6600, 7600, and similar models, could go 8,000 to 12,000 hours before needing a major engine overhaul. That kind of longevity made the 5000 a money-making machine for farmers who needed every tractor dollar to count. The 5000 was particularly popular in the British Isles and across Europe, where Ford's Basildon, England, factory turned them out in enormous quantities, but they sold strongly in North America too, especially with livestock farmers and mixed operation operators who needed a versatile, reliable tractor that could do everything from plowing to loader work to haymaking. The Ford 5000 diesel is still one of the most commonly seen working vintage tractors in both North America and Europe. They are cheap to maintain, parts are everywhere, and the engine just keeps running. Walk into any farm auction in the northern states or the British countryside and chances are good you will see a Ford 5000 sitting there, faded blue paint and all, ready to go home and do another decade of work. If you enjoyed this one, hit subscribe and tell us in the comments what forgotten tractor is still running on your farm or in your neighborhood. We want to hear about it.